You're listening to the Frequency and Flow podcast with Brie Couric, episode number 27. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the 3 foundational truths of magnetic marketing that you need to understand so that you can activate it in your own marketing strategy. Plus, I have a very exciting announcement towards the end of the episode, so make sure that you listen all the way through to hear it. Let's dive in. The term magnetic marketing is something that I hear now much more frequently than I've ever heard in my entire life. It's been popping up a lot in Facebook ads I see, just in different types of offers that I'm seeing and content. And it's interesting because I feel like I see this more and more. And if I'm being completely honest, magnetic marketing is a term that I learned once I got into this realm, this ecosystem of online entrepreneurship. Magnetic marketing is not a phrase or a term that existed until I started working with spiritual and online business owners. Back in my corporate days, the term magnetic marketing never even existed at all. In fact, I'd venture to guess that most of the quote unquote traditional marketers, kind of in marketing agencies and corporations, those that are working more in corporate settings wouldn't even know what the term magnetic marketing is. And quite frankly, they might even have a little laugh or a giggle about it just because it doesn't exist and it feels a little woo-woo and a little out there for most traditional marketers in that more like standardized corporate environment. I remember first reading about the term or hearing about the term magnetic messaging on a sales page. And I just, as someone who comes from a long history of a marketing background and marketing for clients, it was something that I read and I sat with it for a while. And I actually, kind of was contemplating, what does this mean and why is it important? How is magnetic marketing different from just regular old marketing that we were doing in my agency environment? This is open head problems, right? Like something pops up that sparks some curiosity, and I just kind of kept thinking about it and asking questions about it and trying to get to the root and understand it. So that's a little side note. Those of you with an open head might be able to relate to that. But the more that I thought about it and the more that I sat with it, to me, magnetic marketing is all about establishing connection. It is all about that connection and establishing a connection between the person writing, so you as the person, the leader of your business, the person who's sharing that content, and the person who's on the other end that you're hoping is going to read it or is reading it and is absorbing what you're putting out there. So it's all about the connection between you and your ideal clients, and that the strength of the connection that you are able to develop through the work that you put out into the world. That is what magnetic marketing is. If it's more magnetic, you're developing a deeper connection, a stronger connective string between you and your ideal client. And the less magnetic it is, then you're not, it's kind of just a piece of content that someone sees and kind of moves on from without really connecting and wanting to learn more about it. To me, also, magnetic marketing is when your words, your copy, the images that you use, like everything that is in your own marketing strategy, that ecosystem of assets and images and all of those things, establish some sort of knowingness or a safety or a level of trust in those potential clients, in you and what you're doing. I mean, that is what connection is either building or creating that level of trust and safety from them towards you and what you do. That is connection. It's that know, like, trust factor. That's connection. And it's really, like I said, it's that the strength of that string of connection that you develop between yourself and that ideal client or those ideal clients that you're seeking to work with in your business. When that connection is really strong and when that magnetism is really strong, it makes them think, wow, I want to get to know this person just a little bit better because they're onto something. or something that they're saying is really, really interesting. It's something that just kind of gets them on the edge of their seat and wanting to learn a little bit more, either learn little bit more about you or learn a little bit more about what you know and what you're sharing, or potentially take the step to work with you and continue that relationship. To use business and marketing as a dating analogy, it's like you kind of get that first taste on a first date and you're like, I don't know everything about this person, but I'm intrigued enough to know more and maybe go on that second date. Like that is what magnetic marketing is. And like that's the start of the relationship that you build through creating magnetic or connective, like connection focused marketing. So I know that seems kind of like up in the air. To put it in more tangible terms, I want to share an example from my own business. So a couple years ago, when I was just working as a online business manager only, hadn't really branched out into this human design or this energetic aspect, like hadn't opened up this aspect of my business quite yet. I was still very focused on the more tactical and the more like truly just business and action taking type part of my business. Someone scheduled a discovery call or an introductory call with me. So like a sales conversation through my, online, I have a form on my website or had a form on my website to schedule a call just to get, to get to know me better and see if potentially what she needed is what I could offer and vice versa. And so I get on this call, this person comes out of nowhere. I've never seen them. I've never, she wasn't following me on social media or anything, at least not before she scheduled that call. But when I was doing my homework leading into the call, just kind of getting to know her business a little bit more, looking at her social media profiles, looking at her website, and just kind of trying to get a feel for her business, I was like, wow, this is a really great potential client. I really love what she stands for. I really love what she does. She seems like a really great person. So, hopefully things align and this is great. So we get on the call, and one of the first questions I always ask is, how did you find me? Especially because you never know. And I truly believe that, the universe kind of guides you in the right direction. So I'm always curious of how someone kind of happens upon their first, connection with me. And she goes on to tell this story where she said that, she just knew that at that point in her business, she really needed an online business manager for various reasons. I'm not going to get into specifics, but it was very clear that she needed the role that I come in as a consultant and fill in businesses when I was doing more of the online business management. And she's like, and I just knew. So I started Googling like how to find a good online business manager, how, what makes a good online business manager? When is your business ready to have an online business manager? And she just started Googling these things, and such as how she is, she was like, yeah. And I was going pages and pages deep on Google, just trying to find people that felt like they would be a good fit for me and for my business. And for her, she's a very relationship driven person. And so for her, like, it wasn't just someone who could get the job done. It was someone who she felt like, could get the job done and at least had enough of a connection where there's like some sort of friendly rapport. This person doesn't want to work with robots. She wants to work with people she could be friends with in real life who also can happen to get the job done. And so she's like, she said she was something like 8 or 9 pages deep in Google, and she comes across my website. So however many pages back in Google my website was at the time is that, didn't know much about SEO at the time, but at least I was there, I guess. And she clicks onto my website, she's scrolling around, and she's kind of like, oh, this person might be right, this person might not be right. And so this story is all from her perspective, by the way. I'm just paraphrasing it. But she says she gets to my contact page, and I had something on it that was like, kind of funny copy where it was something like, grab your green juice and let's chat. It like said something where it started with the copy's changed since then, but it was like, morning ritual done, like this done. I was really speaking to those entrepreneurs who are like really into the meditating and taking care of themselves and wellness. Like that was who I was really trying to speak to. So it said something where it ended, grab your green juice and let's chat. And that's where my contact form was to schedule this introductory call. And she said, as soon as I saw that you like grab your green juice. She said, well, I love green juice. If she loves green juice, I love green juice. Like, I have to talk to this girl. And so that's how this connection started. And to me, that is like a real life example that happened in my business of what magnetic marketing is. And the funny thing, so this client and I are coming up on 2 years of working together in different capacities. And I mean, basically, because we've been working together on a longer ongoing basis, in terms of business revenue, this is like, I can't even think of an exact number. I probably should have pulled it before I hopped on this podcast, but at this point, probably over $20,000 in revenue to my business through this one connection, this one person who went down to the 9th page of Google, found me and saw one little phrase that said, grab your green juice and let's chat, and decided to talk to me and schedule a phone call with me. And that to me is what magnetic marketing is. And magnetic messaging is putting something out there that helps connect to them and like makes them just want to take the next step with you. So when she saw that, grab the green juice and let's chat, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to hire her, but it was enough for her to say, I really need to talk to her. And so then we get on the call and we hit it off. And then that's where our business relationship, our partnership started. And so it's the stuff that kind of just makes that person lean in a little bit. That to me is what magnetic marketing is. When you like, it's funny that it's magnetic, right? Like it's like pulling that person into the next step with you just a little bit. There are a lot of marketers out there selling this phrase, this term, magnetic marketing. They are selling it as an offer. They are, saying that that's what you need in order to be able to build your business or grow your business or make 6 figures or all of these things. That it all comes back to this magnetic messaging or this magnetic marketing. And if you're someone who's either new to online business in general, or if you're someone who doesn't really have a background in marketing at all, you're probably just wondering, like, what is this term? You might even still be unsure about what is it? Or you might be asking, how do I make my own marketing magnetic? Do I want to make my marketing magnetic? If I do, how do I do that? Because it's kind of weird. And it's kind of a weird phrase, or it's not very descriptive in the way that this phrase is. Because all of us, like the reason that we're here, marketing is an inevitable part of the online businesses that we are either starting or building or growing. The whole point of marketing is to get in front of the people that would be best suited for what you are able to do and how you're able to serve, and just helping them understand whether you are a good fit for them and they are a good fit for you, and vice versa. When you hear magnetic marketing, it's not really descriptive. Like, what does that mean in terms of this process of the whole function of marketing in my business? And ultimately what it is, I believe after contemplating this, is that magnetic marketing is not just what gets you in front of your ideal clients, but it helps you actually establish that connective string, that connective thread that I was just talking about, so that you can actually establish a resonance or a connection with them as well. One that gets them to lean in and feel that pull towards you and your work. And that is all, that pull and that lean in to you and your work. You pique their interest a little bit. That is all, that's based off connection. That's based off the resonance that happens when you connect to them. And that is the basis of what magnetic marketing is. So if you're looking to implement more magnetic content into your marketing strategy, I actually have 3 foundational truths that you must understand in order to implement magnetic messaging and magnetic marketing into your strategy effectively. So not just throwing it out there and doing things, but in a way, but once you understand these 3 truths, then that will lay the foundation that will help you build a marketing strategy on top of that helps you connect and help those ideal clients kind of lean in and take action to start that relationship with you, or build and grow that relationship with you. So the first foundational truth of magnetic marketing is that your frequency matters. So in law of attraction, if you're here, a lot of you may have heard of law of attraction. It's a universal law of the universe, and it's spoken about a lot through Abraham Hicks. And in the law of attraction, it's often said that like attracts like. So, what does that mean exactly? And what does that have to do with your marketing strategy and magnetic marketing specifically? So, there's two different levels that I see this like attracts like, and why your frequency matters so much. So, on one level, like attracts like means that you attract and you connect with others who share the same interests and goals as you, because you both resonate and feel that connection, that bond of trust on the things that you have in common. So that is the exact example of the grab your green juice, is that we both had an interest in green juice, and as soon as she saw that, she really connected to it and leaned into that magnetism and took the next step in terms of working with me. Another way to think about it is someone that you follow recommends a certain book that you happen to have already read and you love. You might want to get to know them better so you can see what else they're talking about and recommending. And that might just make you lean in a little bit more, like, wow, if they like this book and I like this book, what else are they learning or reading about? That's a way that you can connect. So it's like interests attract like interests. When thinking about the content you're creating, it's like creating content from the place of the people who need your services and what you have to offer. What else would they be interested in learning or understanding how you do and what you do? And finding those things that, again, that just help establish that connection, establish that resonance, and kind of like make someone lean in. Where, using an specific example from my business here, I know, again, like going back to even that messaging, is that I personally am really into my morning routine. So I share and talk about my morning routine, or what I do if I can't get to my morning routine. And so it's like things like that just kind of like someone hears, like, oh yeah, that sounds like me. And it really helps them lean in. So that's on one level of like attracts, when we're talking about like attracts like specifically, and when we're talking about what your frequency matters, because whatever vibration you're at and what vibration you're putting out there, and in terms of your interests and things like that, that is what connects people to you. And that is what makes your marketing magnetic, when you're able to connect with that same frequency of the people you're trying to talk to. You can do that based on interests and based on activities or things that you like to do or things that you're interested in. And on another level, your external reality is a reflection of what is happening on the inside. So as above, so below. As you see outside is as what's happening within. And that is another way that like attracts like. If you're very tumultuous on the inside, or, you might be seeing a lot of, chaos on the outside. If you're feeling very calm on the inside, you'll see a lot more calm on the outside. If you aren't feeling worthy of success in your business, you're not going to see success in your business. If you don't feel excited, if you don't believe in what you're offering, other people aren't going to believe in your offering either. Right? So again, like attracts like. If you don't believe in what you're offering, no one else is going to believe it either. And so you're not going to attract people who believe in what you're offering. So like if you're not attracting any potential clients, maybe it is because you don't feel worthy of holding space for them, or maybe you don't fully believe in what you're offering or your ability to deliver on it. And on the flip side, that when you start magnetizing and you start pulling in and you start connecting with people who are potentially your ideal clients, that you've done a good job of cultivating that inner frequency and that inner vibration to connect and build trust and pull in those people. And so that kind of is like the sign that you're either, it's like kind of like, are you in the place where you feel like what you're doing is getting you nowhere? Well, that means maybe you're not in alignment with that success frequency. And if, on the other hand, you're finally starting to get some traction on things and you feel like you're finally starting to connect and speak to and pull in people who could be potential clients, then that means that you are on the right track and you're in alignment and you're like matching and you're connecting that frequency with those potential ideal clients. And so if your external world doesn't reflect what you're hoping it would, then that really comes down to doing the inner work, so that when you do the inner work, that'll reflect in your external world. If your external world doesn't reflect what you desire, then that means you need to come inside and do the inner work and figure out where you're limiting yourself, where you're blocking yourself, where you are kind of have some like shadowy frequencies happening, so that you can heal those, and then you can be cultivating an inner reality that creates the outer reality that you desire. And that specifically that I'm talking about, this inner reality and external reality, and having them match and having them align with what you desire, this is really where leaning into your human design and gene keys comes in super handy. And this specifically is what I help my clients with in understanding their own and how it relates to their marketing strategy. So, all that I do and all that I speak about with human design and gene keys is really to help people get to the root of that inner frequency and that inner vibration, so they can create the inner reality and the inner state that cultivate the inner state that creates the outer state of what they desire. Number 2, the second foundational truth of magnetic marketing. So, in order to attract, you must also repel. And this is a fun one to understand and to explain. So, if you think about magnetism, magnets have two poles, right? Like one attracts and one repels. And it is the equal strength. So, the strength that you want to attract, that is like the equal and opposite strength of what a magnet will repel. And the same thing, like that's what it means for marketing as well. In order to attract your ideal clients and attract many of them, you're going to have to repel an equal strength and equal, call it like volume. You're going to have to also repel people who are not ideal clients for you. Because when it comes to magnetism, and especially the content that it's used in as an online entrepreneur, the tendency really is to focus only on the attracting. And what's really not talked about in this sphere or in this world is the other side of that. And the fact that you have to do things where you stand boldly in saying what you don't stand for and things like that, to be able to repel the people who aren't an ideal fit, and speak not only to the people who you're trying to attract, but speaking to the people that you're trying to repel, and making sure that they know that they're not a fit for you. So they're not just hanging in the balance. Because like I said, magnets have two equally charged poles, one that attracts and one that repels. And in order to create a really strong attracting magnet side of the magnet, you have to also put equal energy and equal intention into who you want to be repelling. People who just, it's not that they're bad people, they're just not a fit for you, they're not a fit for your offer, and things like that. So if you're looking to strengthen the magnet with which you're attracting people, you have to, like I said, you have to put as much energy and intention into the repelling clients who just aren't that good fit, or that you don't want to work with. Maybe for me specifically, like I work mostly with service-based entrepreneurs. And so I usually have pretty clear messaging, especially on sales pages and things like that I don't work with product-based businesses or people who do e-commerce. That's one example, but there's many other things that I speak to. For example, a lot of my podcasts and a lot of my content are much more spiritual based, because those are the people that I really want to work with. If someone doesn't believe in spirituality or has a weird relationship with it, they're not like, I speak a lot to spirituality, because I also want people who aren't into it to know that my work is not for them. You got to put equal energy and intention into who you want to attract, and also then who you want to not work with, or who you want to repel on that other side of the magnet. And sometimes understanding who you do want to work with and who you don't want to work with, it just takes experience. When I started my business, I had to work with all sorts of clients, and I go into this in my past episodes. I had to work with a bunch of different clients to really hone in on what I did and didn't want in clients, like what I wanted in people that I wanted to work with, and what I didn't want in the people who I don't want to work with. Did that make sense? When you're just starting out, you might not know what you want to work with and what you don't want to work with. And so sometimes it just takes experience to get really crystal clear on the things that you are trying to attract and repel. I mean, that's just all part of starting a business, honestly. And growing a business is like taking action that helps you create clarity and hone in on what you want to, like how you want to build your business. But once you know what you don't want in terms of attracting, through your marketing strategy and who you want to work with, it's important to make that very, very clear in your marketing as well. So in traditional marketing, this is why so many marketers and marketing experts put an emphasis on creating a niche or creating an ICA or a target audience. And it's so that you can speak very, very clearly to the type of person you do want to work with. And on the flip side, you can speak very clearly to the type of person you don't want to work with. And I personally don't believe that you have to create a niche or create an ICA or a target market in the way that it's traditionally done. But I do believe that you need to draw a metaphorical line in the sand and make a stand about both what you want to attract and what you want to repel, because in doing so, you increase the potency and strength of your magnet. Okay. You need to you need to clear out the weeds to strengthen the magnet that you are using to pull in your ideal clients. The third foundational truth of magnetic marketing is that it needs to be channeled into tactical and consistent content activations. So I see this mistake made all the time where a client does the inner work, they get clear on who they do and don't want to magnetize or call in, and then they go down any one of these paths. Maybe you do nothing because you have no idea where to start, like you feel very clear, but you don't know what action to take. Or you decide that you need to be present everywhere. You have this clarity, now you're like, great, now I just need to get this message out here and blast it as far and wide as I can. And you build out this massive content strategy, but then you get really frustrated or burn yourself out, only to end up going into hiding for a month or two just to recover because you really overdid it, trying to just go big. You kind of went big or went home and ended up just burning yourself out. And then the third path that a lot of my clients do take is that you maybe start small and pick one or two marketing channels that you maybe hear or see are the quote unquote best right now at growing your business. Even though, and it's something that maybe you implement, you pick the certain channel, and at least one thing or one channel that you're working on and you're putting content out on, just it doesn't feel right or it's not in alignment for you. So that also leaves you frustrated because your marketing's not getting any traction and you're at a loss for what to do next. So I will say recently, like this is being recorded March 2020, along the similar path as, a lot of people with TikTok, like, do I get on TikTok or do reels? Like, do I not? That's a great way to grow your audience, but then a lot of people will go all in on it and then it just totally burns them out because it's not the way that they are best at expressing themselves. And so then they kind of go to that path of, I did it now, but because that's a great way to grow my business, but I don't like it. It feels weird. And I'm not even growing an audience anyway because the energy's not there and it's just not right for you specifically. So I'll be honest, like of those three paths, like just doing nothing, going all out or burnout, or trying one or two that just aren't quite in alignment, but everyone else seems to agree are the best, even though they just feel wrong for you. I personally have gone down all three of those paths at some point in my own journey. But the truth is that if you aren't putting yourself out there in ways that you can be seen and heard by your ideal clients consistently, then it really is challenging to get traction and to create that magnetic connection between your ideal clients. I will say, I don't know this exact number and I perhaps should have looked it up, but I know, even 10 years ago, there was marketing research that came out that was showing that it takes at least 7 or 8 touch points. And honestly, I'm pretty sure even as of the past few years, that number has gone up into double digits, where it takes at least or more than 10 touch points before a potential customer knows, likes, and trusts you enough to take that next action step with you. So it takes different Instagram posts. Maybe it takes seeing a few emails, and then they go to your website, and it's at least 10, if not more, different touch points before someone knows and likes you and trusts you enough to maybe schedule that discovery call with you, or take your low price offer, like take you up on that low price offer, or sign up for your email list or things like that. So if you aren't putting yourself out there at all, or you're inconsistent in, you're either doing the go all out and then burnout path, or you're just showing up inconsistently because it doesn't feel good in how you're showing up at all. Like you're doing TikTok even though your heart is screaming, no, TikTok's awful, this is not for you, but you're forcing yourself to do it anyways. If you're not showing up in places where your ideal customers are consistently so that you can get in front of them at least 10 times and slowly move them down that path of know, like, and trust to take action with you. You need to be able to find that your ideal customers when they're in that curious and intentional mindset as well. So a lot of the content we put out there, for better or worse, it could be the best piece of content, but if we don't get it in front of the right person at the right time, it just doesn't get seen and or heard. And it's not our fault, it's not their fault. It's just like if you're, it just happens. So you need to be consistent to get those 10 meaningful connection touch points with the right person for them to take the next step. And if you aren't showing up consistently, so if you show up for a month and then disappear for 2 months, show up for another month and then disappear for 2 more months, then you're not, if you can't figure out how to show up sustainably and in an aligned way, it doesn't matter how magnetic your marketing, your messaging is, you will fail to attract and pull in those ideal customers, potential customers. So let me recap these 3 truths of magnetic marketing. So the first is your frequency matters, both your internal frequency that we cultivate if you work with me, we cultivate through your human design and gene keys, that inner state, as well as how it projects and resonates outwardly into your outward and external environment. The second is, in order to attract ideal clients, you must also put equal intention and energy into repelling everyone else who is not a fit, who you don't want to work with. And the third foundational truth is that this magnetic marketing that you're creating, you're building into your strategy, needs to be channeled into tactical and consistent content activations that meet your ideal potential clients that you desire where they are, to magnetize them, and it meets them in ways that are sustainable to you over the long term so that you can be consistent. So now for the very exciting announcement I spoke about at the beginning of the episode. For those of you who have been listening to this podcast for the last few weeks, you know that I just wrapped up the pre-sale of my program Radiant. And I'm really excited to share right now that this program is now available to the public, but with a twist. So the Radiant program that I sold in pre-sale is being reborn as Radiant on Purpose. I'm actually going to be recording a full podcast episode on the behind the scenes of what triggered this rebirth and evolution, and it's going to come out next week, so a week from today. But let me just tell you that this program, this new version, this rebirth of it is fire, and just in time for Aries season 2. So Radiant on Purpose is here to help you market your purpose-driven business confidently and effectively by using your human design to cultivate your creative spark. So whether you already consider you are a creative person naturally, or you're someone who has told yourself or believed at some point in your life that you are not creative, and this helps you cultivate that spark so that you can activate it in a cohesive and a very human design aligned marketing strategy. So this program is a guided adventure where you'll get to dive deep into your own specific human design. So your centers, your channels, your profile, your incarnation cross, your activation, your gene keys activation sequence, plus more, to deeply understand yourself and your 1 in a billion unique frequency and energetic blueprint, and then be guided step by step as you translate those energetic gifts into a radiant and powerful marketing strategy for your purpose-driven business. It helps you understand your purpose. It helps you understand how to activate that purpose through your business. And then it helps you take the tactical steps to put yourself out there and get seen and heard as you step into your purpose and serve others from your purpose. You're going to walk away from this program with a comprehensive, radiant, on purpose brand strategy and with an aligned and sustainable content strategy that you can begin to activate in your business right away. Plus, you'll also get some tools to help you adjust your marketing strategy as your frequency continues to elevate and evolve over time. So this isn't just a one and done kind of thing, because of course, as you do the inner work, you're going to change and shift, and your business will grow and change and evolve and shift with you. And so there's also going to be tools in there. So you'll go through it once, and you're also going to have tools to help you come back and help your business and your marketing evolve as you continue to evolve. Like I said, this isn't just any online course. It's actually 100% customized to you blueprint, an in-depth guided journey to align your business and your marketing strategy to your own unique human design. And this program is available right now. So make sure you check it out. The link for Radiant on Purpose is below in the episode description. And if you liked what you heard today, remember to subscribe, comment, like, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcast, listen or watch to your podcasts. I'd also love it if you took a screenshot of your favorite part of the episode and shared it on your Instagram stories by tagging @BrieCurrick, or send me a DM to say hello. I cannot wait to meet you. In the next episode of the Frequency and Flow podcast, I'm going to be sharing the behind the scenes of the pre-sale, launch, and evolution of my latest program, Radiant on Purpose. You will not want to miss this. I'll see you there.